to everyone. This is Shruti Anand, journalist and K12 News, and I'm very delighted being virtually present with Mr. Jitesh Khanna. Hello, Jitesh. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening, Shruti. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for inviting me to this wonderful forum.
We are really grateful and we are honored with your contribution to K12 News in this K12 Talks 2020. Mr. Jitesh Khanna is an entrepreneur and an educationist. So, being an educationist, Jitesh, how do you feel that this pandemic has been affecting the life of the students as well as the teachers?
Shruti, we all know that this pandemic has been providing big challenges to the education industry. So,
Right.
if you see it in terms of schools, lately, a lot of schools have come on for sales. A lot of people are selling schools. A lot of teachers have issues because they're at home and they have to take care of their families in this time and then take care of the educational online classes. For students, it's even worse. So, a big chunk of India doesn't study. If you see the consensus or if you see the latest reports, there's a majority of children in the rural area and in the urban setups, laborers or rag pickers and stuff who don't go to school. So a lot of social activists have been fighting to get these children to school. And on top of that, already children who have been in schools, whether it is government schools or private schools, are now facing this hurdle because of the pandemic. They have not been able to go out to schools, and all the education has moved to online. Now, online education has, of course, brought its own challenges. If you see the latest reports from World Bank, 34% of India only has internet,
Right.
and the entire online education is through internet and through Android phones or tablets or laptops. Now, imagine we are in a situation where initially we wanted to put that major chunk of children in the school. So, a lot of social activists, a lot of people were working on taking these children to school, convincing their parents and taking them to school. Everybody has a right to education. And they were being used for work, child labor, and stuff. Now, imagine on top of that, situations just got worse where kids who are from good families, kids who are from middle income families, kids who are from lower income families, all of them are having this issue where they are not able to access quality education. So the point is that out of the major chunk of children who are going to schools, only a few percentage of children have been able to have good online education. Rest, some children don't have Android phones. You can't expect a family which is earning daily meals through labor all of a sudden loses a job. And I know a lot of people nowadays who are selling their jewelry, selling their belongings just to gather enough money to buy an Android phone or to pay for the data. The data packs are pretty expensive. You know that very well. We both use internet. We know how internet is expensive, how quickly the data finishes. So this
Absolutely.
situation is actually very hard, very, very heart wrenching. मुझे अभी भी हैरानी है that this is not being picked up as the main issue in the news channels. This is not being picked up by politicians. I really have a hope that our honorable prime minister please really looks into this situation, that education ministers look into the situation, because if 34% of India has internet, I can't imagine that 100, if say 100 children go to school, I think probably what 30 to 35 children are getting online education, where a major chunk of children don't have Android phones. If they have an Android phone at home, they can't expect their parents to give their phone to them, and because they have to go out and work. And in this pandemic, it is so difficult for people to pay their school fees. I was just reading about a lot of children being locked out of uh, online session. It's very heart wrenching. It's very heartbreaking. I have no words to explain it. One of the things that I've been pushing in most of the forums is that what if we can really reach out to the government, to the agencies, to find ways and means to really cater this. This is becoming actually very heartbreaking for the children itself. There's so many children I know who come from lower strata who are excellent students. I know of students who go under street lights because they don't have lights in their houses just to finish their coursework. I know kids who buy second-hand books. I know kids who borrow books and they find ways and means to study. I can't imagine what they're doing right now, how they are coping up. And what is happening is because of this, a lot of mental health issues will also come out. A lot of children will be depressed. A lot of
Absolutely.
children will be in grief, sad. So this is like a mix of so many things happening right now. It's a very alarming situation. I am very alarmed, and I'm very I'm really praying, hoping, and working very hard and talking to a lot of people and a lot of agencies that if in some way we can really reach out to such children. Buying an Android phone is not a matter of 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 rupees. There's families who make a very meager sum in a day. They make a very small amount, and I can't expect them to buy a phone and then to go for a data pack. It's not just one thing. It's phone, it's the data pack, it's big families. Some families have 3 to 4 kids and they have different classes. So this is a very complicated situation that we are going through right now.
Absolutely. Very well said, Jitesh. These are actually the points that one needs to look into, and we need to correct these situations because it's a fact that Corona is here to stay. This COVID 19 is not going anywhere until and unless we'll find a permanent solution, say a vaccine. We cannot go out and live the normal life as we were living pre COVID. So, what, according to you, what in your suggestions would be the steps that can be taken from the government's end or from the school's end, by the teachers or principals, to make the situation better? How exactly, what steps can be taken there?
So there has not been a sure short way. If there was one, they would have found it. What I feel is that sooner or later they'll have to start schools with a very with social distancing being the main norm. The future, I feel the schools are going to have a hybridized system where maybe 3 days they'll have a class, 2 days they'll have an online class, so
Okay.
that to have less load and less footfall in the schools. Also, I think there'll be slot system for children, but still, for children who come from rural background, children who come from families which are extremely poor, below poverty line, I'm really, we are racking my brains every day talking to a lot of people if there can be ways and means. There's certain ways like you can have organizations which can have the screening of classes, but that again will be very dangerous because this virus, like you said, is staying and it's just getting worse. And there might be a third wave, fourth wave of the virus. I really feel I'm not a medical guy, but what I've been reading lately is that this is a RNA-based virus. Vaccination is a challenge. If the vaccination come, it's going to be just like flu vaccination everywhere. Every year there's going to be a new mutation, and there's going to be a new vaccination. So, of course, sooner or later we will find a cure. I really hope it is as soon as possible. But this is going to stay. I don't see this ending for another 6 to 8 months. But what what I'm really worried about is children from the lower strata, children from coming from those below poverty line places where they're not being. It's been such a tough job to provide them school educations in rural areas, and on top of that, now providing them internet education is terrible. So the only thing that comes to my mind is that this has to be a initiative which has to be taken very seriously, which has to be the in utmost urgency and priority, to set up a task force or a team which can really look into it, or through multimedia. Of course, the answer is tech. Through multimedia, through creating maybe small camps in these areas where you can maintain social distancing and you can have screening of classes where children can have online sessions, where you can have turn-based education in schools where you have different shifts in school, and few children are called in the morning, few in the afternoon, probably few in the evening. So these are just some suggestions. There is no sure shot measure, and that is an alarming problem. So through this platform, I'm really urging to all the people who are watching, especially people who are part of the government, people who are part of the planning system, education system, if in a way we can really have a way where education can reach to these children, because ultimately, one, the literacy rate will just go up, shoot up, which is not good for a society like ours. Our country, if you see, is the youngest nation in the world.
Totally.
And if our
Absolutely.
youth is not educated, and if your youth is directionless, it is terrible. Yeah. And secondly, it is going to create alarming mental health issues in children. Especially, I have seen children from poor families who are very passionate about studying. I've seen children coming from affluent background who take things for granted. I'm sorry, I'm saying something very controversial, but it's a fact. There's so many children I see who find it so, who can't even get 2 good meals in the day, but they are so passionate about studying. Imagine what they must be going through right now when they don't have data, when they don't have Android phones, when they don't have a screen to really go to. There have been certain states have started programs on television and radio where they are having classes on television and radio, and they've been broadcasting that. But again, I'm coming back to the same point. People who can't afford cell phone, people who can't afford data, you can't expect to have television sets in their house. And if they have, if they're 2, 3 children, it's very difficult to manage all those things. Usually, in the below poverty line background, people usually have more than one children. So it's very difficult to accommodate both the children or 3 children, and ensure that they get quality education. So their education is definitely suffering. A lot of examinations are being postponed, a lot of mental health issues happening. The short solution is only if the honorable prime minister, the honorable education ministers, they come out with a robust policy. They come out with so a big chunk of money has to be diverted towards education. We are talking about Skill India, we are talking about Make in India, but it all starts from basic primary school education for children. We have been for years fighting to get education for rag pickers, children who are from very, very poor backgrounds, where their parents rather put them, somebody's a domestic help, somebody's into labor, and they feel that education won't get them anything. They need money. And to convince those parents and send those children to school was such a big challenge. And now this other challenge has come up. uh, it is going to have a long-term effect, and it's going to be a serious situation unless something has been done at a very senior level, at a very high level, and taken care of it. So we as entrepreneurs, we are doing our best to create awareness. We as social activists, we are going to different platforms and talking about this to a lot of wonderful people. The thing about going out and raising your voice is that sooner or later somebody hears it, somebody important hears it, and there's a way. We can't keep silent about this. We have to go out and talk about it. That is why I'm using your platform, that if out of thousands of people who are watching this right now, if at least 1 or 2 people can take action about it, there'll be a snowball effect. So I'm just waiting for that. And I'm really hoping that this pandemic ends as soon as possible and children are able to. But again, one thing I'm very sure, the future of education, I feel, this is my own view, is going to be completely hybrid, where parents will also send their children maybe 2 to 3 days of school, and rest classes will happen online. I think a lot of tuition work will start happening online. People have started experiencing that, but this is again limited to a very a population which can afford data and which can afford Android phones or any other phone. Uh, Again, what will happen to those children who are below poverty line, children who are laborers, or children who are uh, I know a lot of children who work and at the same time go to night schools and study. So what about them? How would they afford online education? Online education has a big question mark unless data is subsidized, or there is a way of providing subsidized handsets to these children. Or I was reading about this program that came some time back where they wanted to develop Android tablets, which were very cheap. So if the government can come out with subsidized Android tablets, basic Android tablets, which can only stream and do a bit of work, so that a child can sit and stream internet and go and watch classes or live classes and learn. So there has to be ways. India is a country of technocrats. We have the best software engineers in the world. We have amazing hardware engineers. Why can't we work on startups which do that? So I am really, I know, but there's no. I really feel this definitely is a great way. Why not startups come together, subsidized, funded by government, which can really come out with ways and means? Because if education is going online, and the future of education is online, and a country which only has 34% internet connectivity, we have to do something about it. We have
Yeah,
to ensure
absolutely.
internet at every nook and corner of the country, cheaper data, and probably cheaper sets or subsidized sets.
Absolutely. There is a requirement to take us initiative and to look out for these children who are actually helpless and they want to learn, they want to study, and they want to become something on their own. So I totally agree with you here, Jitesh. As we were speaking about the mental health and the situation is alarming, see, the students are not going to school. None of the physical activities are taking place. If we'll say basketball and all these sports that were a part of the school life, nothing as such is taking place as of now. No extemporaries, no debates, no sports day, no annual function. What about these situations? What exactly are your suggestions that can be made to improve the mental and the physical health of those children here?
Yeah. So if you see in urban settings, kids have started interacting with each other on Zooms, Hangouts. So I'm talking about the urban settings, and they have started, and a lot of families are getting very aware. They're trying to spend as much time as with their children as possible. Probably having games in house, uh, spending more quality time, having dialogues with the children. Again, in rural areas or such areas, uh, the kids are still going out because of the distances between houses, far flung areas. Kids are still going out and playing, but a large chunk of children which are at home, which are not going out, not meeting their friends, for them it is very important to some way connect with their friends, whether it is through phone calls, whether it is through internet. They have to connect and talk to people. uh, I have been noticing in my own house, my son initially was not feeling great about not going to school, and then I encouraged him to talk to his friends on Zoom, talk to his play games with them online and stuff. Again, all this is only possible because I have internet and data. And what I'm worried about is those children who are living in those areas where in clusters where you don't have such facilities. And because they're so close and there's so much of density of population, the virus is spreading fast. For such children, I can't expect them to go out and play. Such children at home, I think the only thing that is happening is that they have the parents have to counsel them well, and we have to hope that this ends very soon, because there is no other solution for such children. Again and again, I'm coming back to the same point. I'm not worried about children in the urban settings that much. I am of course worried about them. They are going through issues, and it is relevant. A children, if he comes from a poor family or a rich family, mental health issues are mental health issues. But in a urban setting, you can still have Zoom calls, you can still call to your friends, you can still play online games with them. What about children who are in rural settings, children who are below poverty line? For them, it is becoming very, very tough. And there are not even enough organizations or NGOs which can really go reach out to them in some way or the other, and probably provide them some sort of material or stuff. I don't see all that happening, which is very, very sad. In a country like India, where we talk so much about social activism and all sorts of things, uh, social activism is not happening at that level. I know a lot of wonderful people and organizations are there who are fighting for children, but this has to grow. This has to multiply. There is otherwise no short way. In your families, the only thing that you can do is have a dialogue with your children. Try to provide as much support as you with your children. Be very mindful about how you speak to them right now. They're in a very fragile mental health. Also, this will make them very tough. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. So this pandemic or this time will teach them a lot about life, about their own safety. The most utmost thing is life itself. I hope the children are safe. Once we are out of this pandemic, of course, we'll have to find ways and means to reach out to these children and help them come out of this mental health issues. This is going to, and this is not only with children. I know a lot of youngsters. I meet people who are working, corporates, who are having a mental health issues. That is a different
Absolutely.
reason, because of the insecurity of the pandemic, because of a lot of small businesses closing down. A lot of children I know whose their parents have lost businesses. They don't have money to pay for rents. I can't imagine them to buy Android phones latest and get data packs, and they're doing it. I know a lot of people are just selling their jewelry for that. So we are going through a major crisis, a very silent crisis, which is not being highlighted anywhere. And through this platform, again and again, I'm really reaching out to a lot of people who are out there, that please ensure that if you know somebody in your own vicinity who's going through such crisis, please support them. Whether it is pooling in resources, pooling in money, or maybe helping them reach out to some NGOs, please help them in coping up with this crisis, and please help these little children study. For them, if you really want to ensure a great future, education is the only means. Of course, uh, it is not the limited mean, but it is the only mean through which we can at least help them ensure a better future. So that is my request to everybody who's watching this program right now, that this situation is extremely alarming. Please go out and help people in your vicinity. If you know any neighbor who's going through such situation, and if God is kind to you and you can support in some way, please go out and support them. That is essential. That is very important. I am doing my bit. Please, everybody else, do your bit too.
That is very well said, Jitesh, and I'm really happy that we were able to make spread this message to the masses. People who are watching it, it's a request to all of you out there that please be aware about your surroundings. Please stay safe, and yet please extend a hand to the one who is helpless, and you can help it because, as I've always said in our prior sessions, this pandemic is about staying together, staying strong, and coming out of it together. I know the people, and I've been saying this: the teachers, the educationists, principals, parents, and the students are the warriors of this pandemic for the K-12 community. And yet, I really request you all to go out and look out for people who need your support. As Jitesh mentioned, the people out there are not just the urban people, but of course the students from the rural areas are the ones who require help, and it would be great if we can support them. Thank you so much, Jitesh. It was such an informative session and such an informative conversation actually that we just had, and I believe it has reached the masses, and people out there would take a step and extend their hand for the help of all the people, of all the students that may require it.
Thank you so
So,
much. And
people,
I
this was,
once again thank you for this wonderful platform.
we are really honored, Jitesh, for your after your presence and after this all the experience that you have shared with us. So thank you so much for your contribution in K12 Talks 2020, and to the
Thank you.
viewers, thank you so much for watching this session. And we really hope that you got the output that we were supposed to share, and the message is it still remains the same, that we are all together in this. And stay healthy. We'll be right back with another session.